It's time to move on to our next presenter. Ooh, that was too fast. Our next presenter is Brother Ian Boden. Brother Ian is a sibling in the Order of Lutheran Franciscans. He is a student here at Capital University, and he is a milkshake aficionado. Please welcome to the stage Ian Boden.
Good afternoon. My name is Ian Boden, or Brother Ian Boden, and I am gay. When you look at me, you may or may not see that, particularly when I dress like this. Sometimes when I tell people this, it surprises them. Some people tell me they would have never guessed because of my vocation, because of the way I act, because it never crossed their mind. Others are less surprised. Yet this is a very real part of who I am. And this simple little fact about me has complicated my life. Let's look at the church. In church settings, I have been directly and indirectly called an abomination, a mistake, a pretender, and a distraction from Jesus Christ. Whether or not people know my sexual orientation, they're voicing their opinions about what it means for someone to be gay. They are attempting to tell me who and what I am. And there's always a sting when someone calls you an abomination. And part of you wonders, is that true? Or wonders why they would think that. I'm proud to say that I am a member of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, ELCA for short. The ELCA is an affirming denomination. We embrace people of all sexual orientations. And we ordain pastors who are members of the LGBTQ+ community. The ELCA's teachings on God's love and acceptance are important and have been very formative for me. I am a beloved child of God, the same God who made me, who knit me together. I am known and loved by this God. I'm also humbled and privileged to say that I'm a novice in the Order of Lutheran Franciscans. This is a very unique and important part of my religious identity. I am shaped and formed by the teachings of St. Francis and Clare of Assisi and the Franciscan tradition. Through all of this, and with all of this, I feel called to be a pastor. And this adds an interesting layer of depth to my story. When I entered into discernment, that is to question whether or not if I feel or am called to be a pastor, I was also at the same time coming to terms with my sexuality. Now, I have known since 6th grade that I was gay. But after being called gay all throughout middle and high school and telling people no, it is hard to overcome that no. When you spend so much time pretending, trying to be something you're not, it's hard to combat that or overcome that. I was already in formation within the Order of Lutheran Franciscans with all this was happening. My formation with the OLF, for short, Order of Lutheran Franciscans, is what spurred me into discerning a call to ministry. Before that, if anybody had mentioned if I thought about being a pastor, I said, no. That's not me. I remember being at annual chapter with my order. We meet once a year. We were in Orlando, Florida, where it rains every day at 2. And I was in the chapel alone for some personal prayer time, and I was angry at God. I felt like a joke. There are gay pastors, and I'm very privileged to go after them. They have paved a way for me to be able to walk in that path. And I will never pretend to be the first gay pastor or first gay seminarian or first gay pre-seminarian. But in the moment when I was in that chapel, I was conflicted and hurt. I was starting to tell people that I was gay, and I was so concerned with each person I told, and it still felt weird to say it. And then I was also wrestling with God in this call. What am I supposed to do with my life? What are you calling me to be and do? And then I also felt so comfortable in this high church, very liturgical setting. And within the church, sometimes those spheres are not the most accepting. They retract more conservative views. And in all this is how I felt like I was a cruel joke. That God had made me as a joke. Why was this so difficult? Why was I made this way? Why couldn't I be something else? Why couldn't I be someone else? Why couldn't I be called to a less controversial vocation? In that chapel in Florida, when I was alone, feeling all these different messy things, I felt God. God felt big. God felt vast. And those words are too small to describe the feeling that I felt. But with that feeling, I was comforted. I knew that I was not a mistake. I was not and am not an abomination. I am called to be a pastor. I feel called to be a pastor, just as I am, to be radically me and to be radically available. One of my friends, who is an atheist, believes that I am called to be a pastor that specifically reaches out to the LGBTQ plus community. I have no clue why he feels this way. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm certainly not, to use a weird term, the gayest person I know. And at this point, I can say that I feel called to serve all people, not necessarily one group. But I cannot see the future, and he'll still have a lot of formation to undergo. This brings us to the gay community. By members of the gay community, I have been called a traitor. I have been told that I'm not really gay. I have been told that I am consorting with the enemy and that I have been brainwashed. I have been told that I am hurting the gay cause by being religious, and all of this adds an interesting layer of pain. Should I be called this by a community that I belong to? To me, being religious is just as much a part of my identity and wiring as my sexual orientation. I do not see them as opposites, and one does not exclude the other. But I can understand why someone would say these things. They say them oftentimes out of pain, a very real pain. When I wear my habit, or they hear about my vocation, or my life in general, they feel hurt, because many of them have been directly or indirectly hurt by an institution that I now represent. And their pain is real. Their pain is genuine. When I first moved down here to Columbus, I was more able to freely express myself and my sexuality, and I tried dating. Woohoo. And I ran into many hurt and angry people. I will never tell them that their pain is not real, because it is. And I was glad that they felt comfortable expressing that to me, and that they vented these feelings to me as opposed to someone else. But it still hurt. The religious part of my identity prevented me from finding a relationship, prevented me from making friends, prevented me from being a part of this community that by my design, I inherently belong to. Now, the difficulty in finding a relationship with a religious vocation is also something shared amongst straight pastors, seminarians, and pre-seminarians. There are many religious gay people, and there are many religious gay pastors. But in these moments, I was unable to find one. I was unable to connect with someone. And that community had hurt me and couldn't see me for who I was and wasn't accepting me for who I was. And that hurt. In these two worlds that I am part of, these two facets of my identity, these two aspects and communities that I affiliate with, some affirm me and some hate me. There are those who wish ill on me. There are those who love and accept me. I am excited and energized and proud to feel called to be a pastor, proud to be a member of the Order of Lutheran Franciscans, and proud to be gay. All of this is who I am, and all of these are threads that make up this woven together thing that I am, and that makes me me. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ian, for sharing. Much appreciate your story.